Okay, so today we have a quick tutorial on basically how I paint gold. Let's jump straight into this. Now, when you're painting gold highlights, you want to desaturate as you go brighter, and even go a little bit into the yellow spectrum. We're just going to real quickly with the selection tool go in here and pop in a shape. No big deal. Drop in some color. Let's say there was an object up here blocking the light source. We would want to include a shadow, a cast shadow, on this surface, on this highlight. So on a new layer that is clipping mask, we go in there. We're just going to make this an abstract shape. There's no need to define what this is casting the shadow in this situation because it's just for tutorial purposes. If you were actually doing this in an actual painting, you would want the shadow to resemble whatever is casting the shadow, obviously. But for now, that will do for our purposes. Now we'll alpha lock that, and we'll add in a little bit of glow to the shadows. This will make the shadows a lot warmer, and overall just a richer color that will be more visually appealing. And you can see that already looks so much better. Next up, we've got reflections. Specifically in this situation, I'm going to make the cube reflect the background color. But we don't want to just go straight gray. You rarely want to go just completely gray. So instead, we'll go slightly green and add in just a hint of color, make it a little bit brighter, something like that. And we'll come in here and new layer again, why not? Always, never be afraid to make a new layer whenever you think you might be making alterations. Now our cube is reflecting our background a little bit, but I'm not quite happy with that color, so let's alpha lock that. A little bit of tonal variation in your color is always a good idea because it adds more life to whatever you're painting. Next up, we've got the edges. This is probably the most fun step and what makes metal really come to life the most. Out of all the steps, this one is probably the most important. Now I'm going to be using my personal light pen here, but you should know that Procreate comes with a light pen of its own down in the luminance category. It has a light pen. Mine just has a few variations and tweaks to the settings that make it more personalized. Now at this point, I'm happy with these layers. I'm going to go ahead and merge them all together. I'm going to go in here and pick a medium dark-ish color, no big deal, and just kind of go along the edges and vary your pressure as you go along. Pressure control is your ally when working with this kind of brush. And also, feel free to hit the dark shadow areas a little bit less than where you do the highlights. No big deal, just paint them all in however you see fit. And we've now made the edges glow so much better with just a simple extra step. Last step, and probably the simplest, is wear and tear. This is kind of a minor step, but really does help with the overall look. We'll swap off of the light pen back down to a regular old brush. Shrink our brush size. Go with a neutral color. And kind of just add in some very faint scratches. Know that gold, as it gets darker, tends to shift a little bit more red and a little bit more saturated. So don't just pick one color and stay with it. Really vary your color throughout the painting. It will really help the end outcome. Go in with the light pen one more time and touch up the edges of all your little scratches, nicks, and gouges that you've added around. and add in little spots where they would catch the light. No need to go over the top on this step. Just a little bit is usually enough. In fact, you can always come back in with an eraser and just tone it down just a little bit more if you feel like you went a little bit too far. And that looks good. That's how you add wear and tear, and overall, that's how you paint gold. In recap, the biggest things you need to be aware of: vary your color. As gold gets brighter, it gets more desaturated. As gold gets darker and more in the shadows, it gets a little bit redder and a little bit more saturated. Well, actually significantly more saturated. Make sure that any reflections that you include of any background items or the background itself respect any colors that are present. Because, like, gold can shift what the color is. It doesn't have to stay in the orange spectrum the entire time just because gold is orange. You can change it to a green or a blue or a purple, depending on what the gold is reflecting. Just like here, we've changed it to slightly green so that it reflects the grayish background. Overall, I love painting gold. Of course, if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask them down below in the comments section, and I will do my best to answer them. I'm already getting to work on my next painting, but until then, I hope you all enjoyed this little short tutorial I threw together. I know some of you were asking for it, and I'll see you all next time. Thanks for watching.